Hi, welcome to the Pixel 6 Pro Part 2 review. In Part 1, I took you through the setup and we briefly took a look at the system settings and things like that. In Part 2, we'll be taking a look at when you start the phone and you get to the lock screen and how you go about engaging with the fingerprint reader. We will then talk about the Google Voice Assistant typing, and we will conclude with how to go about sharing your battery. I have the phone now in my hand and I'll now turn it on. As I indicated in Part 1, it has a strong vibration, thus letting a blind person know that the phone is being turned on. I will now hit that power key. I do want to apologize though that there's a noise in my background because it's about 35 degrees or so there on this November 1st, and I have the heating system going on.
Portrait. System UI. 206.
And when you put your finger down and engage the fingerprint reader, it is not going to unlock your device. Instead, you'll have to double tap so it will place you where you could put in your PIN. Or you could simply swipe up with 2 fingers to reveal the PIN. So in other words, the fingerprint reader is not going to take you to where you will put your PIN. I'll turn the screen back on and you'll see what I'm talking about.
2:07 p.m. Emergency calls only. Unlock for all features and data.
I will put my finger down and find the fingerprint reader and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Device locked.
That's where the fingerprint is. Nothing happens. I have to double tap.
PIN unlock. PIN required after device restarts.
And there's
Selected.
the PIN
Required after
area.
device restarts.
Now, if I shut off the screen again,
Screen off.
and now turn it back on,
2:07 p.m. Emergency calls only. Unlock for all features and data.
and I could simply also swipe up to reveal the PIN area.
Device locked. PIN required after device restarts. PIN unlock. Selected. PIN required after device restarts.
And now I will go ahead and enter my PIN. I have unlocked the screen. And that's what I'm talking about with respect to the fingerprint at the beginning of the restart of the phone. I will now shut off the screen, and what I noticed is that when I put my phone down, for example, and I pick it up after a while, the screen would come on, even though I told it not to keep my screen awake. But I believe that what's going on here is that I haven't turned off the lift to wake. Therefore, the screen comes awake whenever I lift up the phone and it reveals where the fingerprint is. And I'll just put my finger down and unlock it. This is my very first Pixel device that uses a fingerprint reader that's built into the glass. I have never had one that has this technology, so I can't really compare it with others there as to how fast it is, but I think it's a little too slow for my liking. I will now turn off the screen or shut off the screen and put the phone down for a little bit and then pick it up, and it should come back up and wake up the phone, and I should be able to see that. There we go.
Lock screen, 2 fingerprints, 2:09 p.m. Pixel launcher, home, Pixel launcher.
So I just unlocked the screen when I picked up the phone. Or you could also hit the power and wakes up the phone. The next thing I want to talk about is the assistant, and that's the assistant voice typing that's found on Gboard. However, this is not on by default, and you have to manually enable that feature. The steps to go about it, and maybe 2 couple ways of doing so, but I think the shortest way to go about enabling this feature is by simply opening up an application that you could use in typing. In other words, open like an app that is meant for text editing or something like that, and then bring up the Gboard and then go enable that voice typing. I will now show you how to go about enabling that, even though I have enabled it, but I'll take you through that process.
2:10 p.m. Fingerprint sensor. Device unlocked. Pixel launch.
For this demonstration, I'll open up the Keep Notes. And by the way, by default, your power key turns on the assistant. You could turn this off in the gestures if you don't want to use this as a gesture. I will hold down my power key so it'll invoke the assistant, and I'll use that to ask for it to turn on or launch the Keep Notes. Open Keep Notes.
Keep notes. New list.
I will now find and tap on the new text note found at the bottom right of the screen.
New text note. But note opened. Note. Edit box for note body and list. Showing English. US. QWERTY. Keyboard.
I'm going to turn up my volume a little bit.
Accessibility volume set to 45%.
I will now put my finger down and find the settings, that is the settings for Gboard, and typically this is found right above the letter Y on your Gboard.
Board. Capital U. Settings.
There we go.
Application icon. Settings. Navigate up button.
When you open up settings, what we're looking for here is an item that says voice typing. I'll put my finger down, explore toward the bottom, and find and tap on voice typing.
Text correction. Voice typing.
There's my voice typing. I'll now tap here.
Voice typing. Navigate up button out of list. Showing items 1 to 5 of 5.
Tapping on voice typing places us now on this screen with switches and all of that.
Assistant voice typing. Type, edit, and send messages using Google Assistant. Learn more. Show voice commands. On, switch, and list.
And like I said earlier, by default, this will be turned off. So you want to tap here to enable that. Below that will be the auto punctuation switch.
Auto punctuation. Automatically add punctuation while dictating. On, switch.
And below that is another switch. And this one is for voice contribution. In other words, if you like, you could submit snippets of your voice typing so they could improve it for everyone. And this is what it says.
Voice contributions, snippets of your audio input on board, will be sent to Google to help improve speech recognition technology for everyone. Off, switch.
And you could tap here to say, yes, I want to participate, or no, I don't want to participate. But by default, it is off. But if you really want to be participating and helping everybody, then you tap here to say, yeah, let's do it. So it is totally dependent on you as to what you want to do. If you tap on that voice contribution, it'll open up a page and explain all of that so that you know exactly what you're doing. Let me tap here so you know what I'm talking about.
Voice contribution. Make voice typing better for everyone. When you talk to board, you can donate snippets of your speech to help improve the technology. Out of list.
And
No thanks button.
you have no thanks, or
I'm in button.
I'm in at the bottom right corner. So I say, hey, I'm in.
Donating audio snippets. Not associated with you.
So here's some more explanation.
Your audio snippets won't be associated with you or your account. Snippets include a maximum of 15 seconds of speech, and may be up to 25 seconds long if there are periods of silence or unrecognized speech. Google won't keep them beyond 18 months.
So it's totally up to you. So if you change your mind, you can cancel that.
Used only to improve technology.
Or
Your audio snippets will be used in line with Google's privacy policy. They'll only be used to improve speech technology. As part of this improvement, human reviewers may listen to or transcribe some snippets.
and
Change your settings anytime. You can remove permission to send your audio anytime by turning this feature off in keyboard settings. You won't have access to your audio snippets once they are sent to Google. If you agree, snippets of your audio input on board will be sent to Google to help improve voice typing for everyone. Cancel button.
or
I agree button.
I agree. And so I'm showing you the process so that exactly you know what you're doing. So at the bottom there is that I agree, and to the left is the cancel. Let's go ahead and cancel for now.
Cancel button. Voice typing. Voice contributions, snippets of your audio input on board, will be sent to Google to help improve speech recognition technology for everyone. Off, switch, and list.
So you're back here, and it is still in the off position. I hope that you understand what I'm talking about. And now I'm going to get out of here and go back to Google Keep Notes and continue where we left.
US, QWERTY, keyboard. Keep notes.
When you open up a new note in Keep Notes, you are automatically placed in the body of the note. I will now tap on the title field so that we're in the title. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to show you how you can ask the assistant to move to next. In other words, if you're filling a form using your voice, when you're done with the first field, you could say next, so it'll move to the next edit field. I will now tap on the title area.
Title, edit box for note type. Showing English, US, QWERTY, keyboard.
And before we get going, I want to say that you could use the voice commands to undo things. In other words, you could say something like clear, and that would clear the last sentence you spoke. You could say something like clear all, and it will clear everything that you have typed. It really doesn't matter if you have stopped typing, which of course, if you want to stop typing, all you have to do is say stop. And after stopping typing, and you bring up the Gboard again and invoke the assistant typing, then you can even still say clear or clear all, and it'll still work. And where we used to have the voice typing or voice input button, after enabling the assistant typing, we now have that in place of that voice typing, and that will say assistant typing or something to that effect. I'll put my finger down now and find that above the letter P.
Board, capital P, assistant voice typing.
Here's the voice assistant typing. I will now double tap anywhere to activate it. And by the way, when you tap and you hear your screen reader going or saying something, I want you to fear not, because that is not going to get inserted into any of your text. You watch what I do. I'm going to be tapping now to give it a title.
Listening.
Testing the voice assistant typing. Next.
Editing, note, edit box for note body and list. Showing English, US, QWERTY, keyboard.
Hello. New paragraph. I would like to thank all of you listeners to the Blind Android Users Podcast. New paragraph. I am doing this voice dictation using the Google Assistant typing found on the Pixel 6 series. New paragraph. Do you think this thing is going to work? New paragraph. Let's stop here now and check what we have done and see if we actually come up on top. Stop.
Voice typing stopped. Assistant voice typing.
Now that I have finished typing, let's go ahead and review what I have. I will first of all put my finger near the top and find the title to be sure we have the title, and then we'll move to the body of the note for the main dictation.
Testing the voice assistant typing, edit box, title for note title.
And now I'll move my finger down and move to the body.
Editing, hello. I would like to thank all of you listeners to the Blind Android Users Podcast. I am doing this voice dictation using the Google Assistant typing found on the Pixel 6 series. Do you think this thing is going to work? Let's stop here now and check what we have done and see if we actually come up on top. Edit box, note for note body.
And like I said earlier, I have finished dictation and I have stopped the voice assistant from listening. However, if I want to clear this text, or if I want to clear the last sentence, for example, all I need to do is to invoke the assistant and tell it clear, and it will clear my last sentence. Or I could say clear all, and it will clear everything else. Let's try it now, shall we? I will therefore find the assistant, tap on it, and invoke it.
Board, assistant voice typing. Stop assistant voice typing. Listening. Suggested commands. Done. Clear.
Clear.
Removed last sentence. Suggested commands. Undo.
Stop.
Voice typing stopped. Assistant voice typing.
Now I'll put my finger down in the main body and let it read and see if indeed we actually removed the last sentence. Here I go.
Keep notes. Editing. Hello. I would like to thank all of you listeners to the Blind Android Users podcast. I am doing this voice dictation using the Google Assistant typing found on the Pixel 6 series. Do you think this thing is going to work? Edit box, note for note body, and list.
As you can tell, it actually removed the part in which I talked about saying, hey, let's stop now and see if we're going to come up on top. I will now tell it to clear all.
Or capital Assistant voice typing. Stop Assistant voice typing. Listening. Suggested commands. Done. Clear.
Clear all.
Cleared all text. Suggested commands. Undo.
Stop.
Voice typing stopped.
I will now put my finger down.
Editing. Note. Edit box for note body.
As you can see, all that text is gone. Now I'm going to tell the assistant to clear previous, meaning clear the title field. I will go ahead and invoke the assistant.
Capital P. Papa. Assistant voice typing. Stop Assistant voice typing. Listening.
Clear previous.
Cleared all text. Suggested commands. Undo.
Stop.
Voice typing stopped.
Now I'll put my finger down and see if we still have the text or the title.
Editing. Title. Edit box for note title.
As you can see, all the text is gone. And that's how you go about using the voice assistant typing. The last thing I want to talk about is how to go about doing your battery sharing. There are two methods in which you could enable that battery sharing. Either you enable it from the quick panel, in other words, you bring down the quick panel, and on the last page, you're going to find battery sharing in there, and you could choose either to bring it to the first page or whatever. But the other method would be to go into your system settings and then go into battery and go find that battery sharing. Now, as to what one could use their battery sharing for, it would be things like maybe if you have a watch or maybe you have those Google earbuds. So things like that, you could use that in charging those. Let's go ahead and see the first method, which is going through
Notification shade.
the quick settings panel. Let's go to
Page
the
2 of 2.
last page.
Off. Battery share. Switch. And pager.
There's a battery share. If you tap here, for example, you will enable that.
On. Battery share. Charge other devices with your Pixel. Flip your phone over to try. Out of pager.
And at the bottom left, you have Learn More
Learn more. Button.
or an OK at the bottom right.
OK. Button.
I'm going to go back.
Pixel launcher. Home.
And now let's go to the
Windows
system
signal full.
settings.
Open settings. But collapsed. Page 1 of 2.
And we'll go down to battery.
Connected apps. Notificate battery. Sharing battery about 17 hours. 42 minutes. Settings.
I've been playing with this thing for quite a spell. Okay, now let's go to at the bottom. We'll find battery sharing.
Battery share. Off.
We tap here.
Settings. Battery share. Out of list.
We have,
Navigate up. Button. Allow battery share. Off. Switch. And list.
and you could turn it on.
Charge other devices by placing them on the back of your Pixel. Stop sharing battery when phone reaches 10%.
And you could customize this by changing that percentage to whatever percentage that you would like it to turn off that battery sharing once that percentage is reached. Right now, by default, is 10%, but you could change this to whatever you like. And that will be the conclusion of our part 2 of the Google 6 Pro review. There are more things that we could review, but for now, this concludes this 2-part series.